everyone. I am here with something very special. It's very special for me anyways, and I hope that you enjoy it and that it inspires you to do the same. And this video is inspired by a video I saw from Simon, once again on the Hermit's Cave. And Simon was inspired by a video from a YouTuber named Giselle. And so I'm going to share both of their videos in the description box below. And then Giselle was also inspired by someone else. And I think there's a chain of events that you can follow yourself if you're interested. But when I saw Simon's video yesterday morning, it kind of blew me open because it involved one of my favorite decks of all time, one that I could not live without. I hate ever saying that, but in that silly kind of way you say things like that, it is a very important deck to me. It's called Soul Cards. And what happened, I'll explain more about those in a minute, but what Simon was talking about was actually taking the two decks, Soul Cards 1 and 2, 120 cards between them, and creating your own deck, your own 78 card tarot deck using these oracle cards. And I hate to even call them oracle cards because they're so much more than that to me. But anyways, this idea just sort of blew me open. And the more I watched, then Simon began to show the cards that he chose, and I had to stop watching because I knew that I needed to do this for myself and I needed to spend the time. So the entire day yesterday, every time I had some free moments, I was working on this, and I finally finished later last night. And I decided to make a video to show the cards that I chose. So before I do that, I want to say that these cards have been a part of my practice for a long time now, and they are created by Deborah Koff Chapin. So Deborah Koff, K-O-F-F. Chapin is C-H-A-P-I-N. And Deborah created a way of creating art that is very spirit-led. It's called touch drawing. And I highly recommend that you research her and see if you can't find some videos of her working and her talking about touch drawing. She has a website where you can buy all of the materials to try it. I've never tried it. I hope to one day. She teaches you how to teach other people. It's just an incredible resource, her website. And these decks are very, very special. So the interesting thing, when I first received them, I had never received an oracle deck or a tarot deck without any kind of instructional, there's an instructional booklet, but she didn't assign meanings to any of the cards because she says that, if I remember this correctly, that these are supposed to speak directly to your soul, your spirit in that moment. And there is no way to assign meaning to that, right? That it should happen in the moment, and you will know. You will know what these cards are telling you when you use them. And she's so right about that. And that actually shifted my way of reading cards in general, among some other things, but that was one of the things that really shifted my way of reading cards. So very, very special deck to me, incredibly special to me. I've used it for a long time. It is one of the decks that I really wouldn't want to be without. If I could only choose like a few, this would be one of them. And excuse me, I've also used them in many art lessons that I've taught on video as a jumping off point for talking about the artistic practice, or about even just getting pure inspiration from the colors and the shapes and the movement in the cards. So they have been a big part of me. I want to say they're even in my second book. I'm pretty sure they're in my second book, Watercolors for Everyone. I talk about them. I'm almost positive they're in the resources. I don't know. But anyways, they're a big part of me. So when Simon was talking about this, and I have since watched Simon's choices, and we made some similar choices in a few cards, and we made some very different choices in most of them. And then I watched Giselle's, and they were also similar in some and different in others. And some of them, we all three had the same card, I think. But so there are some that are very obvious, that like the Sun card to me was a no-brainer. But most of them I really had to think about, and my process was as I thought about the card that I was choosing, and I went through the whole deck, and I pulled out all the cards that I thought would do it, and then I did sort of a process of elimination, and that's how I went about it. And then when it came to the minor arcana, I pulled cards that I felt were water. I pulled cards that I felt were fire, for earth, for air, and then I went from there. It was an all-day event, and I had to do other things in between, but anytime I had free time, that's what I was doing. And it was a delicious process, and harder than I thought, but I'm just so grateful that I saw Simon's video and that I did it. So I have not yet written the names and numbers on these cards. I'm thinking I don't want to ruin them so I'm thinking of ordering next month or so another set of these, and so I can create the deck that way, and then use the extras just to send in the mail to people when I send letters and things. I can send them one soul card, because I kind of want to have one just as it, like my original one, I kind of want to keep the way it is, if that makes sense. So I didn't write anything on there. So I wanted to say that first. Okay, so I'm going to go through the deck and show you my choices. And again, this is such a personal process, because when I was deciding them, I wasn't thinking about anyone other than me and what I see in the card and how it makes me feel, and how that card in the general 78 card tarot deck makes me feel, right? So it's very personal. So you may not agree at all with some of my choices, and that's okay, because this is my deck, right? This is my personal deck. But I still, like, I loved watching Simon's choices and Giselle's. I loved it. So anyways, I hope I'm saying your name right, Giselle. I hope I have that right. I might not. My brain. I'll make sure I check that and correct it if I need to in the description box. So, and it also led me to her channel, which I wasn't aware of before, which is always wonderful too. So, here we go. Okay. This is my Fool card. I had like 4 choices for the Fool. I chose this one because of the forward movement, the expression on his face. There's like a swiftness in it, and it just feels like he's on his way without a care in the world, right? And there's something about this that's like sort of like the Big Bang Theory to me. I don't know. It just feels like the universe is being created, and he's just off and running and ready to go, and full of the spirit of adventure. And why not, right? Why not? So that is my Fool card. This is my Magician card, and I think Simon and Giselle both chose this as well. It was a no-brainer for me when I saw this. It reminded me very much of the Mary L. Tarot Magician. I think Simon said that as well. It just seemed like a no-brainer for me, this upward and downward. I don't know. It's the Magician for me. I love the markings on his face. I love his expression. I love his hand gesture. It's perfect for me, for the Magician. This is my High Priestess, and I think I want to show these lined up a little bit, because so my Fool, my Magician, my High Priestess, and so you can kind of see there's a similarity in colors, and I don't know why, but that sort of factored in for me. I had several other ones that may have worked better in general as a High Priestess, but when I saw this card, when it came up in the deck, her glare struck me hard. And the fish represent that deep well of intuitive wisdom, of creativity and intuition, and the watery element, right? I love that her face is somewhat concealed. She's got this Mona Lisa smile behind this fish. But overall, it was really about her gaze at me that completely took me. And so I love the progression of color. And as you'll see, I'm going to move these over a little bit. So here's the Magician, then the High Priestess. And then this was my Empress, which to me was, I mean, there was no other choice for me. It was immediate. Um, the full breast, the belly, the burst of energy coming from her, the groundedness of it too, like she's in the earth and of the earth, but she's holding the earth. It's like the whole act of creation for me. This card was a no-brainer. I love these two together. And then my Emperor is this one. And I love the connection between them. And for me, they sort of kind of all go together, all of these four cards, and I needed them to go together. They go together for me. The Emperor is a difficult card for me. It's not a deeply meaningful card for me, and so I'm fine with this. I know how I feel about it. It's just perfect for me. So other people might disagree with that, but I just need these cards to work together in a flow, and they do. They're just magnificent together. So, okay. And then after the Emperor, I take a little departure in color, and this is my Hierophant, which I call the Crone. And to me, this was perfect. It speaks to that card to me completely. There was no other choice for me. It was immediate. I think of the Hierophant as a crone energy. That's how I choose to work with it. Even if my deck shows an old pope in a chair, I don't care. I work with that card as crone energy and wisdom. So this was perfect for me. And so these sort of go together for me as well. The next card, the Lover's card, spoke to me of how I see the Lover's card. Less about relationships and less circumstantially it works in the reading. But for me, this card has always been about my own relationship with myself and my love for myself. And also this, where our relationships in life have a lot to do with how we love ourselves as well. And so it just really spoke to me. It spoke to me of the Lover's card. I'm very happy with this card. All right. And then the next one is the Chariot. And this one, there was one other choice that I thought about, but this really spoke to me of the Chariot, of moving forward and going through with everything at all. No matter what seems to be holding you back, you are moving forward. I feel like he's breaking through anything that's holding him back. And I love that there's black and white and color and this vibrational movement in it. And to me, it just completely spoke to the Chariot energy for me. The next one is the Strength card. I saw this right away, and to me, I see this as an animal, and it is, I don't know, I have trouble with this card to begin with sometimes, so it was immediate for me. I didn't even think twice about it. I know how I read the Strength card. I know how I read this one. I had a very, very clear dream, almost like a journey, an imaginal journey, about 3 years ago now, where the Strength card sat on the edge of my bed and talked to me. And so it's very personal, and it's how I read for myself. And this deck is for me only. And it has a lot to do with my relationship, my very deep relationship with animals and the animal world. And I see this as a very tender card. And so it was, I don't know, it was just absolutely the Strength card for me. The next card is the Hermit. It was also a no-brainer for me when I saw this image, the mountain, the snowy peaks, this solitary figure, this light coming from within that can illuminate the world, even if you're in your cave. I mean, it's the Hermit for me. I am the Hermit. It is a very important card for me. it teaches me a lot of things, but one of the most important things over the past few years that it has taught me is that I can be an activist in a different, I don't have to be out there screaming and making noise. I can be an activist from my own inner world and how my energy shows up in the world, and the work I do on my inner spirit, and how that emanates from me in the work that I do. One of the most important cards for me, the Hermit card, is the Wild Unknown with the turtle and the tortoise in its shell with a candle lit on its back. This has the same kind of energy for me. And it was instantly my Hermit card. Okay, I'm going to take a little break here and then start back up. I've got a client and I will be back. Okay, so I had to reset up. Everything might be in a different place. Sorry. So, yes, where were we? I think I was at the wheel. So this is my wheel, my choice for the wheel. I had a hard time with this one. I had a few that I was considering. And in the end, it just felt like, I don't know, this one just made sense to me when I see it. I know how I feel about it. I know what to think about it. I liked sort of the different directions, the spiraling in different directions, that kind of thing. You know, I can see elements represented here. I don't know. It just works for me. I don't think it's ideal, and I may revisit this one before I commit to the, you know, and buy the new decks and write the words on them. But yeah, that's my wheel for now. Okay. This is my Justice card, and the Justice card is an important card for me. I liked the feeling of it. I wish that the being was looking directly at me, but I like the covering of the eyes here. You know, it just reminded me that justice should be blind and balanced and all of these things. It works for me. It's not, I don't know. I see it and it works for me. So I don't remember the cards that Simon and Giselle chose actually at this point, but I remember thinking, yeah, those are great. But this is mine. This is the one that I chose. Justice. And then this is my Hanged Man. And so when I saw this card, it of course I think goes this way, right? But when I saw it with the leg pose and the arms out and everything, I turned it upside down and I was like, oh my gosh, that is the Hanged Man for me. I love this burst of light, right, through it, and this, I don't know, growing into something better. I don't know. It works for me perfectly. It works for me perfectly. Nothing's holding really. It's just like encompassing but not holding down this being here. It just worked for me instantly. So that is my Hanged Man. This oh, did I not? I thought I missed. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. This is my Death card. I'm going to move these. This card, there is the skeleton card. I thought about that one. It seems very obvious that would be a good choice. But for me, the Death card has been incredibly symbolic in my life. And I've worked with it a lot. And I need that feeling of transformation and change, and something like the finality of something that is going to give room for me to grow and for new things to come. And I loved this. I mean, this image to me is a very peaceful and ghostly and non-living being to me. Like, I feel death in this card, physical death, mortal death, but then the new growth, right? This bud coming from the mouth, right? And from the mind, this blossoming of the mind. And so this to me was the perfect death card for me. Next is Temperance. And this was just a no-brainer for me. It is Temperance for me. Yeah, it's just, I love the mix of the red and blue. I feel like it's actually reminds me a little bit of my Rider-Waite-Smith Temperance card, and just something about it. I love this flow through of this energy. I love everything about it. This could be wings to me. I love the peace in the being's face. I love the hand expressions, channeling these two possibly opposing energy and letting them flow into something peaceful and fluid and good. For me, this is a very clear choice for me for the Temperance card. And then my Devil. My Devil, I think Simon, I can't remember. No, it wasn't Simon. Simon had a different choice for lovers. Maybe it was Giselle that chose this for the lovers. I don't know. I thought I saw somebody, but maybe not. This to me is the Devil card. There's something about this image. When I see this, I see an animal face and horns up here. It's sort of beautiful, but also a little bit unsettling to me. And I feel like these people are stuck, like they've been turned to stone. They're chained. They're like together, like they can't separate. It feels like being trapped to me. These to me are like eyes. They're kind of foreboding and spooky. This was just, for me personally, very indicative of how I sense the Devil card to be. That's what I saw when I saw this. But there's a way out, right? Okay. And then my Tower. And this was just perfect. To me, this is the Tower. And it's like the scream that no one hears too. It's just, sometimes when the world just whizzes around you and everything feels like it's going to crash and come tumbling down on you and swallow you, it's just a big whirlwind that just sudden it happens and boom, done, right? So this was my Tower. And then coming from the Tower, this is my Star. And I just like how the two cards sort of, we've got this, and then we've got this, just this upward flow in this card, and this feeling of protection and just compassion and gentleness and rest and peace and beauty, and how there's this calm inner place within what could be fiery and maybe a little bit uneasy, right? It just feels like a card of protection and peace and rest. And it just felt like the Star to me. And plus there's stars in it. What more could you want, right? I'm going to move the Tower and I'm going to keep the Star down, because this is my Moon. And this card, there were like 3 different cards that I thought of for the Moon. And this one won out. And for me, there's like this deep divine feminine intuition, wisdom type of feeling. There's a little bit of mystery. We don't really see everything that's here. There's a sense of being reflected light. There's also the shift of the moon from the dark new moon to the bright full moon. My moon is in Cancer in my 8th house. And my Venus also, they're conjunct. And I have a very strong relationship with the moon in general, and with the moon card. It is one of the cards that it's really important to me in a deck. If I don't relate to the moon card, the deck usually isn't something I work with for very long. This just is the moon for me. It is the moon. And then the sun is a no-brainer. That has to be the sun for me. Anyways, I'm sure other people will find other cards that are even just more amazing for the sun, but it's just a no-brainer for me. And I love these three together. I love, 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 love them. So very exciting. Love them. Love them. So that is my star, my moon, and my sun. This is my judgment card. I really struggled in general to make the choice, but this was the first one I chose just completely intuitively. I see these eyes here. I love this idea of the birds and the face and the energy and the there's a wonderful saying. It's that words are it's actually on here on my desk so I don't mess it up. Words are heavy things. If birds could talk, they couldn't fly. I don't know. There's something just visceral about this card for me and the Judgment card. And so that was my choice. And then the World card, this was the only choice for me. And for all the same reasons that Simon talked about, we chose the same one. Yeah, it's just there was no other choice for me for the World card. It is these glowing beings in communion and in community and partnership, joyful, singing. It's just, I don't know. There's a beautiful energy in that card. And to me, it's perfect. Perfect. Okay, so that's my major arcana. And now we'll get into the minors. And I'm going to start with Pentacles. And so this was my Ace of Pentacles. It just felt like the seed. It felt like the beginning. There was no other choice. I knew it the minute I saw it. I set it aside. That's the Ace of Pentacles. It just is. It just is. And I love the progression here. I really, it really mattered to me when I was choosing. This was the Two of Pentacles for me. I'm not going to get into why on all these. There's just so many cards, but that is my Two of Pentacles. I think it's probably obvious. And I think this was Simon's Lover's card. I think so. I can see that too. I think it's so beautiful. I love this card. So that's my 2. This was my 3. I like the 3 sets of hands. And it just, I don't know, it felt right to me. This is my 4. Every one of these cards had something kind of earthier from the natural world in it. And here, this leaf was important to me, and it felt perfect for the 4. This is my 5 and my 6. This was my 7. It just sort of reminded me of the Rider-Waite Smith image of the gardener toiling and sort of this look of exhaustion or dissatisfaction or something. It's not all happiness, right? But there is the fruits of the labor there. And I don't know, it just made sense to me. And this, to me, for the 8 of Pentacles, was absolutely right. That is also an incredibly important card for me in my life. I just feel this as total 8 of Pentacles energy. Total. It's just, there was no doubt in my mind about this one. This is the 9. I see that flower as the bird. There's something about this image that's sort of pristine compared to all the rest of them. She's so clear. Her facial features are so clear and delicate and beautiful. She has a gown on. It felt regal. It just felt like the 9 to me. And then this was the 10. So there was possibly this is her, and it's sort of transformed into something of togetherness and something of beauty. And it works for me. So that is my 10 of Pentacles. So let me move these. I'm going to get these all messed up. And I'm going to show you the court cards. Okay. This is my page. It just had that energy to me. I don't know. I love the bird. I love this sort of mandorla kind of, it's just, I don't know, this Vesica Pisces type of energy, this new being maybe coming out of the portal. I loved the energy of this card. This was the Knight for me of Pentacles. There's something really powerful about that gaze, and I loved these two symbols here, and it just for me felt like the Knight energy of that card, which is a very still energy to me for a Knight. There's something really powerful about that image. This is the Queen of Pentacles to me, through and through, no doubt about it. Yeah, I think it speaks for itself. And then this was the King of Pentacles. There's something to me very wise and peaceful and regal about this person, and this says it all. And I love surrounded with green and in the earth. It just felt right to me. So those are my court cards for Pentacles. That's Pentacles. Next I will, or I should say earth. This will be air or swords. This was my Ace of Swords. Yeah, I don't know. I like the freshness, and it just feels new and like it's just been created, this beautiful, young, beautiful, soft face, and all of these knowing, seeing eyes down here marching across the bottom. It just, and they're sharp like the sword, you know, it just, I don't know, it worked for me. This was my choice for the 2, which was almost impossible for me because that is my card. That is my card for my whole history with the tarot. It's just my card, and this, for very personal reasons, is what I chose for the 2 of Swords. This is one of my favorite soul cards too, so it made sense. I really feel this card. This was my choice for the 3 of Swords. I feel the heaviness of that card in general here, but I also feel the hope of healing, that things that have been broken and pierced can heal whole again. I just, yeah, I really feel the 3 of Swords energy in this card. This was my 4 of air. This was my choice for 5. It just hadn't had the right energy for me. This was 6. I love just moving along. It's time. Love this card. It just felt right to me. This was the 7. Not only are there seven feathers, but it just felt, there's something about the look on that face too. Is she going off with something that doesn't belong to her? I don't know, but I don't know. It's an interesting card, isn't it? That's my 7. This was my 8. It just seemed perfect to me. This is my 9. Somebody else may have chosen this, I think. I don't remember for sure, but boy, that's the 9 of Swords to me, for sure. And this was my 10. This is my page of air. I think I struggled with this one a little bit, but in the end, I chose it. It feels more earthy to me, more pentacles, but I loved that this new growth was springing from the mind space, from the third eye. And that's why I chose it. This is my knight, which I think is perfect. It could also be a wands card, but I felt this was a sword. Love the hand and the movement of this, the swift movement of the strokes. This is my Queen of Swords. Works for me. And my King. I love these two together. I mean, they're perfect together to me. So that's my Queen and my King. Now for cups or water. This was my Ace of Cups. That's pretty self-explanatory. Flowing over. Endless. Love it. My 2. I'll turn these over. Well, I'll leave them up. Okay, some of them, I like the way they flow, you know. This was part of my consideration. So that's my 2. This was my 3. I thought it was so perfect, you know. It feels celebratory, like sparkles and confetti and everything that comes together to make us whole. I don't know. And how, even if you think of it as community or things like that, how those things make us whole and how it's all inside of us. I often look at, especially for this deck, as it's really about me and my inner world and how I show up in the outer world. And so this just made a lot of sense to me. My 4 of Cups. It works for me. I just love it. I actually thought of this for the Fool too, but it just works as the 4 of Cups for me. 5 of Cups. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. It couldn't be any more perfect for the 5 of Cups. And the 6. The 6 of Cups to me is like a guardian angel card. It reminds me of a prayer card I had when I was a little girl. And this is just how I see that, how I read and experience that card. And this is the 7 for me. Really, really worked for me. I think Simon had this as his judgment card, and it is a powerful card for that too. Yeah. And then my 8. Worked for me. And this is my 9. I feel like this card is I feel this card is just so gentle and positive and compassionate and humble, and my cup is full and is about to runneth over. I don't know, it just felt full and gentle and kind and living to me. Yeah. And then this was my 10. I saw this as the rainbow, and this just sort of embodied this facial expression. This card, it's very Mother Mary for me, but it's also, I just feel Kuan Yin too. I feel this like ultimate peak of compassion and joy and kindness and love and peace and all of those things. So it was my 10. This is my page. The Knight. So much movement here. So beautiful. Some action happening in here. I see a whole scene in there. Just, it was, yeah, it really works for me. Immediately when I started doing this, when this card came up the first time, I took it out because I knew this was my Queen of Cups. It is so, Queen of Cups to me is a very quiet internal card. And she's out in the middle of her ocean, refilling her well, her cups, so she can give it back when she returns. It's just, she is the Queen of Cups for me. Those hands. Oh, God. And the King. Works for me. I love them together. They just, I'm not thinking of the King as a person, but as an energy, and I feel it in this card. I feel great compassion in this card and wisdom, and it just works for me. Okay, those are my cups. Almost done. And now the wands, or the fire energy. And this was my Ace of Wands, Ace of Fire. I don't know, it just works for me. Boom, here we are. We're ready to go. Love it. This was my 2. Contemplating, right? Do I go? Kingdoms await me. I don't know. It works for me as the 2. I love it. This was my 3. There's my stake in the ground, and I'm leaving. I'm gonna go. It works. This is my 4 of Wands. I find such peace and joy in this card. It's just so beautiful to me. It's the perfect 4 of Wands for me. This was my 5. This is a difficult card for me in general. There's just, sometimes in my line of work, and just in general, I have eggs in so many baskets. I can get to where I'm really spread out too thin, and I feel like things are just coming at me and everything's grabbing at me at once sometimes. And this, I don't know, this is my personal deck, and this is how I can experience that card sometimes. So my 6. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hands up. Love it. My 7. This was a tricky one for me too, but I'm very happy with it. I see so much in this card. I also thought of this card for the 3 of Hearts. I'm sorry, the 3 of Hearts. I was looking at this as a heart. The 3 of Swords. But it wasn't quite there for me. I love the one I chose, but yeah. And my 8 of Wands. My 9. And my 10. And I want to say there were other, I think this was not on, this was also, I think the choice that Simon and Giselle made, I don't know, but this was the 10 of Wands to me, and completely to me. And not so much the Rider-Waite. I could not find one that felt like that for me. But I can take that meaning from it as well. But this just is like, I don't know, that's the ultimate wand energy right there, isn't it? And this one just seemed to work really well as the 9. I loved it, mostly because of this. It just works for me. So that's the 9 and the 10. This was my Page. And my Knight. So good, isn't it? Such a beautiful card. I'm pretty sure Simon had this too. This is the Queen of Wands. There is no ifs, ands, or uts about. I mean, immediately I knew. I mean, there's just no other choice. Wow. Just wow. I mean, if you need to understand the Queen of Wands, this is it for me. Love this card. Love, 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 love this card. I've used it so many times for inspiration. And then my King, which could also be a really good hermit. It could even be a Hierophant if you wanted that instead of a crone for me. That's my King. So there you have it. My own deck made from my beloved soul cards. If you end up trying this exercise, I hope you'll share with me your experience with it. I am going to keep it this way until I'm going on a big trip, and I'm going to keep it this way until I get back and order the new decks and then create. Or I have this video now, so actually that's my record. I can take my cards with me and use them. But I'm just, Simon, thank you for sharing it. And Giselle, thank you for sharing it, and on and on and on, however the chain was. It's just, it's one of the best things I've done with my tarot and oracle practice in ages. I'm so excited about it. So thank you. All right, everyone, take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye.